all of this has just become mine. Everything from right here where the camera is and a little bit further up, right down to the river, I've just bought, which sounds kind of ridiculous, and I guess it is in a way. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, both on the house and on the land, so I thought I would make a series of videos for those of you at home who can't be here all the time to see what's going on. I guess it's going to take quite a while, probably a couple of years really, but every time something changes, every time I have a new idea, every time, I don't know, something is different to what it was before, then I shall make a video and keep you all updated. I hope you enjoy it. I'm looking forward to the process of doing all the work. It's a new venture for me, and there's too much work to do on my own really. I will probably have to end up getting help, either through woofing or helpex or friends or family or locals or whatever, depending on what the job is, but I'm looking forward to that, and I kind of looking forward to having a bit of an open space where people can come and spend time, both when I'm here and when I'm not here, and hopefully I will see many of you very soon. I'll take you around the house first so you can see what it's like now, and I'll explain the changes that I'm going to be making to it. It's a little bit of a unusual house for this part of Portugal really, because most of them are built from granite, because that's what all the natural rock is around here, and they'll have tiny windows, which I'm not a big fan of because they're very dark inside, but this one was built from scratch 25 years ago by the previous owner, who actually lives in a house up there now, and he built it on top of a stable. He designed it himself, he put the big windows in. They built it from bricks and cement, and I really like it. It's quite an unusual design. It's all open plan, but it needs a lot of work doing to it, so I have started that, and as a consequence I am living in my van at the moment. Also, there isn't really anything in there. There's no beds, there's nothing for me to sleep on, so it's a bit impractical. And I've got that satellite dish on the outside, which is pretty ugly, but there isn't a great deal I can do about that. It's for internet, because there's no, for high-speed fibre around here, there's no copper broadband, there's not even any mobile internet, because I'm in a valley, so that's the best that they could do. And it isn't very good, but it kind of keeps me in the loop for work, which is the important thing. Moving inside, and over here we have the kitchen, obviously, which is all going to come out. Everything you see here is going to be changed, and I'm going to build a new one from scratch, because A, it will save me a load of money, and B, I'll have the satisfaction of knowing I have built it myself. So this boiler up here is going to go on the outside of the house and create more space for a kitchen, and the exit hole for the flue will be where the extractor fan for the oven will go. This plumbing here, that gas there, and obviously that plumbing there will have to move. That will probably require quite a bit of hacking away at the wall to reroute the pipes, which should be a laugh. Over that side, it's going to be a living space. That's pretty self-explanatory. The previous wood burner sat here against the wall, and there wasn't any heat protection, so a lot of the paint is stripped off, which I'm sorting out at the moment. And this is where I ripped out the old flue and also tried to clean the smoke stains off the wall, which just made them look 10 times worse. So I'll stain block that and paint over it before putting a new flue in. Coming over here, one of the main things I'm going to do, which is quite high on the list of priority, is building some sort of a balcony or terrace, because this is a big drop at the moment, and to be able to sit out here would be a lovely thing. Right now behind this door there's this sort of thing that resembles a child's stairgate, which kind of just opens out into nothing, so I reckon this is going to be something which I'm going to get stuck into quite quickly. I'm going to try doing this myself, which is probably a bit ambitious for my level, because I don't really know what I'm doing, but I have friends who do. They are builders, and they have said that they will come and help me out and offer an extra pair of hands, give me some tips, basically tell me what to do, which I'm quite happy about, and that gives me a lot more confidence to take it on myself. Under here, I have no idea yet. These stairs are a bit of a death trap, to be honest. They're so steep, so I might actually rip them out and put something a bit safer in, but for now, no idea what's happening under there. And over here, I'd like to put a piano in this corner, so if anybody in the central Portugal area knows of a piano going for relatively cheap or free, then do let me know. Second bedroom, what am I doing here? Well, it needs to be painted, obviously, get rid of those surface mould stains. And actually, in this corner over here, I'm going to put another burner. I'm going to just put a little one, a Hobbit stove made by Salamander Stoves in Devon. And that means drilling a new hole in the side of the house. I think that's quite an easy job, despite the fact it sounds quite daunting though. It's pretty decent size this. I can't imagine I'll be using it that much. Doors. These doors, which, there we go. They're not very nice. I'm going to get rid of them, and my dad has said he's got 2 left over from a building project in his house, which I can have, which is super handy. And moving on into here is a very primitive but very functional bathroom, which kind of has the world's strangest bath. It's like half the length of any other normal bath, and it's got this weird seat in the back. I have actually used it for a bath. It does the job. It's a bit awkward. However, that is obviously more practical. All of this will be coming out just like the kitchen, but I've got other stuff I need to do first, which is more important, so that will have to wait for a little bit. It works, which is the important thing. Moving on up to my favourite room in the house, which is this. Now, up here I've already painted because the walls were a bit of a state like downstairs, but I'm going to put some carpet down, which isn't really a thing in Portugal. They love their tiles, and I can understand why. It's very hot here and tiles are practical, but it is very echoey in here, which is partly because of the fact that there is nothing in here at the moment. But having carpet in here will dampen that sound quite a lot, make it feel cosier. And in that corner over there, I'll probably put a sofa and a few other bits and pieces. And of course have my bed over here, which has the best view in the house. Now there's no chimney here in this house. This is where the old flue came up, and that's where it exits. I quite like that because what it means is as the flue heats up, it also gives off heat to the room, whereas obviously if it's in a chimney it doesn't, all of that heat escapes. Now, I'm waiting for everybody to say in the comments how dangerous it is to have a single line flue in your house. I know that regulations in the UK would probably tell you that you shouldn't do it, and I know that going through a floor from one side to the other you should have insulated twin line, but it's been like this for 25 years. Most of the houses around here do it. I think with a little bit of common sense and correct installation, it's going to be absolutely fine. Now, as I mentioned, obviously this is all open plan, so heading over here, you can see downstairs. Now, I know that's not everyone's cup of tea, but I really like it. It feels like it's the best use of space. It's light, it's airy, and it's really big. So, and I love these beams too. One of which was in the stable downstairs before it was converted, and I don't know where the other one came from. This is looking out the other side of the bedroom here, and my land kind of goes around here, up to those pines, across sort of up to there, and then down there to the river. I'd like to point out that this place is literally like a fifth of the price of what it would be in the UK. There's no way I would be able to afford to buy this in England, but I can here. It's actually pretty cheap, so I'd advise everybody to move to Portugal if you haven't already, because it's a fantastic place to live. Moving on to the outside of the house, and this came with it as well. Currently doesn't work, but I have sourced some parts for it online, so I'm looking forward to getting that fixed up. That would be pretty handy around here. And going around to the other side, it's much bigger around here. And oh, hang on a minute, we have this boat engine which was left behind, which if I can find a boat will be pretty handy actually. And that's going to be a great way of getting around the drink driving laws in these parts. Once again, if anybody's watching this and they've got an old knackered boat for €50 that they don't need, that would fit on, I will take it off their hands. The river level does need to be higher. It goes up and down quite a lot. Usually in the summer it's pretty high. There's a dam further downstream, and during the dry months when there's less water coming down the river, they shut the dam off so the level rises, and then they use the volume of water in the dam to generate the electricity. Then, which is really good actually, because you can go all the way down to the dam, which I guess is about 15 kilometres that way. I've got friends who live 3 kilometres up the river that way, and there's a lot of villages and towns on the way which are accessible by the river, and a lot of pubs and bars as well, which is fantastic. Anyway, my favourite bit of the whole place, which is probably not the most pleasing bit to look at, but it's this outside area which I'm going to turn into a workshop. It's going to be super handy because there is obviously a lot of work to do. And down here you've got hot and cold water points and power points already. Gas, as there isn't any mains here, so that'll do for now. That currently supplies my hot water and my hob. At some point I will look into another form of heating for my hot water, but that isn't a priority because this works, so that will be a job further down the line. In here, what is essentially a garage space, just without any vehicles in it. Another thing I could do with this space is knock through from the living area above and have a very cool area in the summer to come and take refuge in, because it does get insanely hot, but then that means I don't have anywhere for my stuff in here, which I could get rid of, but most of it's quite handy, so I probably won't end up doing that. Little bits like this that need patching up, which is a job for the summertime really, because it's a lot drier then, and there's some up on the roof as well which need to be done, but that shouldn't be too difficult. It looks a lot bigger from this side, and that's because it is. It's built into a hill, so the bottom half you've got another layer. Needs a coat of paint obviously. It's looking a bit ugly at the moment. It hasn't been painted for 25 years or so, so I'll do that when it's warmer. I think it's pretty obvious, to be honest, everything that needs to be done to the house. Apart from this balcony, none of it is particularly in-depth building work. It's sort of merely renovations and decorating and making it mine rather than what it is at the moment. Stuff that's happening on the land is a little bit more involved, which I'll show you now. That involves the water, electricity, land management, irrigation, food, all the rest of it. So yeah, I'll go and show you that now. Now, the only energy source which is going to be, or the only utility really, which is going to be mains fed is electricity, which I do want to put a solar system on the roof, but I can't afford that right now. To get a decent setup which will give me enough power in the winter months and which I won't have to replace after 5 years or so, it's between 8 and 10 grand, and I don't have that money at the moment. So it's cheaper for me for now to get mains electricity. Right now it's piggybacking off the house above, so I'm actually borrowing the electricity, it's not mine. In order to do that, I've come up to the main entrance. We have to take a feed from a line over there, and then just here inside the gate we've got to build some sort of housing to put the electrical boxes in with the meter readings on, so someone from the authorities can come round and take a reading of how much I've been using, but then that means digging a trench in the middle of this path all the way down to the house, which is 150 meters, and burying the cable rather than having it go overhead, which is doable. It's not difficult, it's easy. It's I guess it's going to be someone and a digger for a couple of hours, and that I'm looking into now because I like my own electricity supply rather than having to rely on my neighbours, although he's being super cool about it, and he's like, no, it's fine, you use it for as long as you need. And he's been really helpful actually, because I don't yet speak Portuguese, so he's being my translator. I mean, it's not essential. I've got a solar panel on the roof of my van, and I've got what I need. I've got minimal needs at the moment, but once I've created my well down there, the pump is going to require quite a heavy current, so I'll go down there in a minute and show you. But this is my plan for the electricity, so yeah, I'll do some more filming of that when it starts. While I'm up here, I mentioned land management earlier, and what I kind of mean by that is this is obviously a track, but when I first got here I didn't even know this track was here because it looked like that, thick with stuff which just takes over. And now in the summertime when it dries out, that becomes a fire hazard, and these things here love to burn. So it's pretty important to keep all this cleared, cut everything back. I mean, we're only at the beginning of February now, so give it another month or two and it's going to start going crazy again. But I've started, and at this time of year you can have fires and burn off the remains. Obviously in the summertime you can't. So, I mean, I haven't got any shots of what this was like before, but this was thick, and I mean really, really thick. And it's looking a bit neater now. Another thing you find a lot around here is eucalyptus. Now they are proper bastards. In Australia, where they are native and they're massive and really grand and spectacular looking, they fit in very well. But here, they've sort of come and infiltrated the ecosystems really, and they're a monoculture. They soak up all the water from the ground. They're incredibly flammable. They grow absolutely everywhere. You cut one down, you get another 10. And they make people a lot of money through the paper factories. So, and they prevent other things from growing. So luckily I don't have much eucalyptus on the land, but and for fires in the summer you've really got to look out for them. Along with the mimosa, which I don't know if you can see it, but sort of down here, and they're flowering at the moment. They're yellow. They look really nice when they're flowering, but they're also like, you know, throwing a glass of petrol on a fire or something. So that's going to be an ongoing job for as long as I'm here. There's loads of oaks. Oaks are great, obviously. They resist fire. They still burn, but they don't go up as easily as the others. So I keep all the oaks, and they look really nice in the summer when they flower. We've got these things which are madronias. Apparently, well, I don't know, they'll burn, but they're not too bad. I haven't actually had any experience with those before. This stuff, yeah, get rid of that. This space seems a bit redundant for now. That's my grandparents' caravan which I bought for them, which I will put on one of the terraces and build a shelter for it. So a little bit of extra accommodation, but I would imagine this space is going to be parking really for people who come and visit. Figs. There's loads of figs, so if anybody's got any decent suggestions of what I can do with them, please do let me know. Leave a comment in the section below. Now, as some of you know already, I'm quite into slacklining, which is sort of the modern day version of tightrope walking. And it's been a bit of a dream of mine ever since I first came to look at this place, to establish a line which goes from up there where the video started to the other side of the valley. And that will require an experienced team of riggers, of which I am not. So I've been looking around and thinking, where else could I put a line? And just over here is a house owned by some Portuguese people who bought it about 20 years ago and then never came back apparently. But they do have a full-time gardener who works over there, so I'm going to try and establish contact and see if I can get their permission to put in a temporary anchor point in the ground, so as I can have a line from where I'm standing now over there, which I guess is about 80 metres and is a lot more achievable than the other side of the river. Now, this green looking carpet is actually a pond with what looks like very dirty water, but the water is actually really clean. This stuff on top, I don't know what it is, this green plant material. It's not algae, but anyway, this will be my water supply. I think if you're going to live in rural Portugal, it's essential to have your own water supply, because mains water doesn't reach a lot of places, like here for example, and it's so dry. You need a year-round water supply. It's just, you know, without it you're doomed. So I need to turn this into a well. Essentially it's a spring. I need to pump all the water out, and I need to find the source of the spring underneath. Now this pumps water continuously for 365 days a year. There are other water supplies on the land, but they dry up in the summer, but this one doesn't. So once all the water's gone, I need to put in big concrete rings on the bottom and put a load of stones around the outside, and then cover the concrete rings with a lid. So that will be my well. And inside will be this pump, which is a bit of a beast. And this will pump water up to the house, which I guess is about 70 or 80 meters from here. And it will go into an automated system, into a pressurized tank, which will then route it around the house, send it through some particular filters, through a UV filter, so it can be drinkable. To be honest, it'll probably be fine as it is out the well, I've been getting my drinking water recently from a spring on the other side of the hill, and I'm still alive. I haven't got ill yet, but just to be safe rather than sorry, I'm going to do that. And once I've got that electricity sorted, this is definitely going to be next on the list, because then I'll be able to operate this pump. And this water tube and the electricity cable which feeds the pump is going to have to be buried all the way from the house down to here. Now that is going to be a right pain in the arse, because unlike the electricity cable that goes from the gate, which I showed you just now, which is all flat, or at least just one track, this is terrace after terrace after terrace with granite boulders. So the reason I have to bury it is for protection against fires, because if a fire does sweep through the land, although it's only happened once in, say, the last 25 years, if it happens and it burns the tube or the cable, then that's it. I have no water, so I'm going to be in a bit of trouble then. So that is probably going to be a couple of days' work. Now, as backup, so as I don't have to rely on this pump all the time, I will put a couple of big water containers at the top of the land where we were at the start of the video, maybe, I don't know, 5,000 litres each or something, and then they will be routed, just gravity fed to various water points around the land with hoses that are always there. So if fires do come through, I can have water without relying on the pump. There's enough height to get down to where we are now, at least, about 45 psi worth of pressure. So that's your standard household mains when you open the tap. That's how much resistance or how much pressure there is behind that tap. Now down here behind me we have a whole row of terraces. I think there's about 6 from the river, so water supply is there. And then we've got terrace number 1, which is the biggest, and then another 5 terraces which are already overgrown. Now they are going to be perfect for growing food, far more food than I can look after myself or consume myself, so I will need a lot of help with that. But the fact that they are below the water supply here, and they are, you know, it's just perfect, the location of where they are. It really, really is. So that is something which I'm really looking forward to, and I know that my friend Orion is looking forward to even more. I think he'll be chief gardener here, so I'm really, really excited about that. That's going to be great. I'll show you those in a minute. Actually, we'll walk down there and have a closer view. And this is what I mean by overgrown. You can't really make out the ground at all. It's going crazy. In fact, in the last week, it's even gone crazy because of the sunshine we've had after the rain. That's the top terrace up there with the water pit, and then they just go all the way down here. Down to the river. Although it's still really low, the river has actually risen by quite a bit. I was sat sort of way down there in the middle this time last week. It's just about high enough now actually for me to be able to go swimming in it without worried about being swept downstream, because when it's low it flows quite fast, because it's just the speed at which the river comes down the stream. But when the dam is shut and it starts filling up, it slows right down. And in the summer when it's full, there's barely any movement at all. It's really nice. You just lie on the river all day. Ruin number 1. Don't know what to do with this yet. It is the better quality of the 2 ruins on the land, but it used to be the case that you could extend 100% out, so twice as wide, and you could go up to 3 stories, which is what the house up here started out as, a little stable. But yeah, I don't know. Ruin number 2 with water storage outside. I always used to think that granite used to be, or is, one of the hardest rocks around, but apparently not, because this stuff is like a sponge. Look at that. This used to be the main house once upon a time, and not very big bedrooms. Must have been tiny people who lived here. I mean, this would be complete tear down and rebuild, and probably have to put some sort of reinforcements into the hillside behind it and certainly some sort of moisture membrane, because yeah, this has just been eaten alive by the water. It really has. Still, it's good to know that if I did want to do something with it, I can. And now we're into the land of the terraces. The rest of it is just like this. Different levels, which this particular one here is probably where I will put the caravan. And that one up there is where I've kind of turned it into a bit of a slackline park. I've put a couple of lines up there which are great, apart from the fact that one of them's under an olive tree. So when you're standing on the ground barefoot, you're just squelching into loads of olives, which sort of lubricates the bottom of your foot, which means you can't stand on the line properly. Not really ideal, but there we go. Another thing that I would like to do on one of these terraces is put a bathtub outside with a fire pit underneath, which I know is something that quite a lot of people have on their land. But for me, it's quite reminiscent of when I was 18. And I went to my friend's parents' place in the south of Spain, and they had the bathtub outside, and we got a great picture of me sat in this bubbly bath drinking a glass of champagne with the hills behind under the orange trees. And I just think it'd be a really nice thing to have here, particularly for, you know, clear nights or when it's cold outside during winter time. So I'm pretty excited about that. This other idea that I've had for quite a while now, but I haven't acted upon because it just hasn't really been practical, is building a mobile sauna, potentially from an old horse box. If I buy a horse box to bring all my stuff down here, then I would like to convert it into a sauna, which I can then take to places with me, because I love saunas, and there is a track which goes all the way from the house right down to the river. So I think it would be a great place to park it down there, particularly when the river is high, and use that as a natural plunge pool to jump in afterwards. I've not yet been in here, but it goes a long way. I can't see the end. I don't know if it's natural. It doesn't look natural, so I don't know what it would have been made for or why it is there and what's at the end. So that could be something interesting to go and explore. I found some second-hand creosote fence posts which I will use for turning into a compost area and a log store, and these bigger ones will be used for the shelter for the caravan. I think that's pretty much everything covered for now. There are probably some things that I haven't mentioned, but that will be because I haven't yet thought of them. So as and when I do, and when I get started, I will of course film them and try and keep you updated.